Hey there everyone, Noir here and welcome to Fan Theories. Before we begin, if you are new to this series or if you haven't seen Catghost, I would highly suggest pausing this video and watching those first, because throughout this series I will be referring back to previous points that I've made to improve upon them. I'll give you a couple of seconds here to do that and then you can carry on after you've caught up. Okay, so we have reached episode 6 of Catghost and we're also nearing the end of the creature saga. There have been some interesting developments as of late, but before I start analysing this episode specifically, allow me to rectify an error on my part. In episode 4's analysis, I had mistakenly assumed that the character model in the bad ending of the game was Noir. I've since been informed that this is not the case and it is in fact Bethany. So thank you to Sophia for informing me of this error, and I hope that this helps towards satiating the issue. Now then, let's begin with Hole. This episode begins once again with fire, but this time we see the rest of the clip, which shows someone's charred and still burning hands. It's safe to assume that this is Elon being burned at the stake. We also see something else that happened in the past, possibly to Elon or perhaps someone she may have known. There is a game that loads up and tells the story of a girl that loved to dig holes in people's gardens, probably out of sheer curiosity. And when she was caught, it was decided that she would be put to work, which landed her in a cavern or a mine and ended up resulting in her death. There are a few things here, but I'll see if I can find out any further evidence once we get to the game. Elon wakes up in her bed to the sight of something new, a dimensional rift. The trio discuss the rift and what its purpose could be, but there is something that Gideon says that's incredibly important.
Look here, the garbage hole is almost full, and digging another one would be a lot of work. And when I burn it, it just stinks up the place anyway. It's like we live in a bubble or something.
This sentence infers that the trio are indeed trapped in a pocket dimension, or a bubble as Gideon says. There's also the mention of a hole for trash, which he's attempted to burn the contents of before, which leads me to believe that he's accidentally using a metaphor for Elon, if my thoughts are correct. The nightmare that Elon had was possibly about her being the girl, or someone that she knew that was put to work in the cavern, and was then accused for witchcraft, which led to her death years later. Even the fact that Gideon has been using the dimensional rift to get rid of the trash alludes to how they got to where they are now. They were transported to this pocket dimension. Nara then goes into the rift and sees the bust from Party Country, way back in episode 1, which dispenses an egg holding another Gideon. This could mean that a part of Gideon's soul was still trapped in the other dimension, or that this version of Gideon was still waiting in the sidelines. If you think back to the last episode where we heard about Elon's curse that was placed on Gideon and possibly the other inhabitants of Jamestown, we know that they were cursed to follow her forever, but that doesn't mean that Gideon's current body isn't perishable. Perhaps a new version of Gideon is summoned every time its predecessor dies, which actually has evidence supporting that in the credits. Within the credits of each episode, Gideon's voice is credited to clone number 221, which it changes in this episode's credits to clone number 221 and critical. That would mean that there would have been no less than 221 reincarnations of Gideon in his hedgehog form, which would also help contribute towards the fact that Gideon only figured out that he had this new form in the last episode, simply because this version may have only existed for a short period of time. Okay, so that's where the episode's analysis ends. Time to play some Dark Cavern. In the game, you play as a girl in what appears to be a mine, with the aim of the game seemingly being to traverse the mine until you'll reach an area that gives you an ending. Mine happened to be a baby, which you can steal. If you choose to steal the baby, a line of text appears telling you that you're a monster, and you're placed into an inescapable pit housed by 5 skeletons. The poem on the left side of the screen appears to be talking about these characters' deaths, but the reason for their incarceration is still unclear to me. However, the theft of the baby does relate back to the trial that resulted in the death of Elon and Nara, because there is a message in one of the jars that mentioned a child by the name of Jeffrey Laggett, along with a line of text that says he's not moving anymore. Is he dead? Perhaps this baby's Jeffrey, but who's the character we're playing as? There are also various endings to the game, but a player can only receive one of those endings. So if you want to see another one of the endings, which has been titled Canary Song, check out the Goons playthrough of Dark Cavern, as well as Caleb Walker's recordings of the game, which seem to have the rest of the endings. Unless there are other endings that we've not found so far. I'll leave their channel links in this video's description so you can check them out in your own time. And that brings this episode's analysis to a complete close. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, let me know what your thoughts and theories are in the comments section, and even if you didn't, let me know how I can improve the series for you. Until next time, people, keep on surviving.